I'm just looking for a certain chumash. Just open the Rambam, Sefer Nashim, Ilchot Girushin. Oh, I was looking for a certain chumash. I have it here. So we started last night to learn the halachot of Girushin. See, basically the foundations of Kedushat Israel are based on Ilchot Kiddushin and Ilchot Girushin. I'm using an example, yes? Let's say if a reform rabbi officiates a wedding, we should thank God the wedding is not a wedding, and therefore the couple is not married. The couple is not married, so even if they get divorced, and she remarries another person without legal get, she's a single woman. Or if she has an affair, but let's talk 40 years ago, more than 40, let's say 60 years ago, when conservatives were much more right wing. Some of them really, got the job to do the best they can. If the rabbi made sure that the wedding is a real wedding, and 15 years later, and the marriage is falling apart, if they are not getting divorced by the same rabbi who, assuming was an Orthodox rabbi, they are not getting divorced by him, they get a divorce from a conservative Beit Din, which is not a divorce. So you have thousands of women through the years that are Eshet Ish, and they remarried children are mamzerim. So Rabbi Feinstein held, no matter what, that the marriage and divorce of the former conservative doesn't count. For various reasons, you don't have kosher witnesses. But if you think about it.
So even if the rabbi that married them is not kosher, but they're still Beilat, I know they can make the Beilat Znut, but they have in mind at least that their Beilah is for to consummate the marriage.
Even if they have it in mind, if they don't have witnesses, if they are doing it, they're saying this act is being done to be married to each other. Remember, as far as they're looking at it, We are married because we had a ceremony, Salim.
And so if then that happens and they didn't really get married, they don't get divorced. So the woman she's considered a single woman, right?
Correct, correct.
If she then gets married and she has children,
The children are children
They're
from
kosher children, just not
not.
okay, because I thought before I misunderstood when I thought you said Mamzeh Rim.
No, I'm saying.
no, save them.
60 years ago, the rabbi happened to be a fine person and he did the kosher wedding.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
But the divorce didn't take place by him. Because of that, approximately 40 years ago, two lawyers from Baltimore had a great idea. They formed, they made an office and they hired someone and he got in touch with every conservative and reform rabbi. And in a very nice way, they told him like this, look, we have disagreements and this and that, but we would like in a generation from now, 2 generations from now, that our kids should marry your kids. So if you give us a list of couples that you divorced, we would, or you can send them to get divorced by us, or we would approach them, and we would officiate an Orthodox divorce free. Understand? Because every get that they made is, I'll give you.
Why are you going to the get if they got married by the same rabbi? What's the get gonna do?
The reason is, Rabbi Feinstein was very strong, and many others agree with him. But some say that in English you call it civil marriage. Right? In Jewish laws, if the husband and the wife live together 10 years as a husband and a wife, not a student, a friend, a boyfriend and a girlfriend in college, some claim that this is almost what you meant before. So not you focused only on the BI. It doesn't have to be the BI. We live together as a husband and a wife. So some say, even though the marriage was definitely not marriage, but being together, a husband and a wife, for 5 years, 10 years, especially if you have kids, counts as a marriage. If it counts as a marriage,
in what way is he mekneh though? As much as you want it to count as a marriage, I don't understand the kinyan here. What's the kinyan?
And there are no edim.
I don't understand. The only way you get married is kinyan.
Since everyone in the synagogue or the temple everyone that lives in the block knows that. I'll give you a good example, Salim. There's an example from the Orthodox point of view. Every so often, I am a witness in Ashkenaz wedding, and the rabbi would whisper to me, the kala is nidach. What's the problem? It's not a problem. But, okay. So, in the Ashkenaz community, in most of them, after the ceremony, the couple goes to a seclusion into a cheder yichud. She is a nidah, she cannot be alone. So I am the witness, remember. So I make believe that the room is empty, but I know in advance that a kid with a toy will be in the room. This way they are not alone. Or I know in advance that the room is not locked, that there's no yichud. Very nice, fine.
Why can't they have yichud? They're a married couple.
They're not married.
Why not? They got married with a document.
Because she's a nidah.
Who cares if she's a nidah? She still got married with a document.
Only the halacha is that if they never had a relationship, you cannot be alone with her if she's a nidah. So what you do is they go home, and let's say a week, 10 days later, she goes to the mikveh. Who knows that she wanted the mikveh? According to the Rambam, Salim, as you know, chupat nidah is not chuppah. They're not married according to the Rambam. Okay, so even though the Sfaradim follow Maran, there's always these games, Maran, and in Maran says they're not married, but are married. How do I know that this couple is married? Because everyone knows that they live together as a husband and a wife, and everyone knows that there was a marriage ceremony, right? So there is the concept of Nisuim Ezrachim. Rav Henkin held strongly that this is the Chumrah. We have to look at it as a real marriage. So this is why these two lawyers from Baltimore
Uh-huh.
wanted to help.
So you're saying the kinyan that he did in the
Not
chuppah is not enough?
in 90, okay, in today's day and age, with doctors and pills and this and that, you have, they know more or less.
So actually, I have another question. I have a proof against this. The Kohen Gadol, uh, when he goes to Yom Kippur, there's a Mishnah that says that he gets married to someone else, and the
That's
only purpose of this marriage is
that's
so that,
the wife who died. He has to be legally married.
right. So how is he legally married? He probably never had biyah with this lady. He just
He's
doing it just for the.
a lady 88 years, 120 years, and not touch the woman. If it was a real marriage, you're married.
But then what's the point? I don't understand.
He was
How?
not at the time of the wedding. I told you the night of the wedding when it says Ariat Mekudeshet, it's called in the Gemara Kiddushin She'ein Mesurin Lebiyah. Kiddushin She'ein Mesurim Lebiyah. You never, I mean, you learned all the Gemarot, but you don't pay attention to it. Every
I know, but this Kohen Gadol is not doing biyah with this lady. He's only getting married for show.
but it's reuin legally to be it's reuin legally to be and by the way, this second wife is his wife only if his wife would die on Yom Kippur.
Right. No, but it's not on condition. He's fully married to her in case his wife dies. So he stays married.
He's not married after Yom Kippur to two wives. Only if his wife dies.
So it's a kiddushin on tonight.
It's Kiddushin al Tanai. Let's look at the Rambam.
No, my point is there. Although it may be ru'in, but he never intended to ever have biyah with this lady.
This is what you think, yes? This is what you think. He wants
It's a backup plan.
he wants to have a kapara for Am Israel, right?
Right.
If he wants to have a kapara, he has to be married. If he's not married, there's a problem.
Right. That's what we're trying to find here. What is the legal definition of marriage in Jewish law?
That a woman agreed to receive a ring from you in front of the witnesses, and according to the Rambam, she has to be legally reuya lebiyah b'zman hakiddushin. Chupat nida, according to Maran, is not mekudeshet. Chupat nida, according to the Rambam, is not mekudeshet. So I'm asking you, every Sephardic woman, okay, no one, of course, pays attention to today, but according to the Rambam, who knows if she went to mikveh afterwards? She was never married. The answer is, when Pinchas goes in and he kills Zimri, what is the halachic base for that? Aboel Aramit in front of 10 people. 10 people didn't go into the tent, but 200,000 knew for sure what goes on. No one ever saw Hashverosh in bed with Esther, but everyone knows that he didn't marry her to watch TV together.
And you could use, like, outside of here, where could you use common knowledge in place of testimony witness?
I mean,
I don't remember anywhere else where we use this thing where you can use this kind of proof.
Gemara says that a woman came from Medinat Hayam, the Gemara in Gittin Kiddushin, I think to what also. Came in Medinat Hayam, and she has few children. Few years later, the witness says that she had a relationship with a boy. We're going to execute her. Execute based on what? How do you know it's her son? This is exactly what they just told me, yes? Since they are growing together as a mother and a son, they assumed 100%, yes? This is a Gemara.
And you could send her to death?
You wouldn't send her, you would execute her, right?
No, I'm saying you would.
The Gemara in Kiddushin said it. Why? Soklin על החזקות, ככה לשון הגמרא. This is the same.
Wow.
Oh, but this is not, we assume maybe, not that they came to the neighborhood and she took him to Toys R Us and she wanted toys.
No, I understand, but if
Many-
there's a hashash that maybe it's not her son.
Any signs how a kid relates to his mom or to his father, etc.
Yeah, but it could be his aunt or something like that. But still, it's still a problem. It's also, or it could be his like the goyim have the concept of a godmother, where the kid's parents died and she took him in as his own.
It's a Gemara Salim. I'm looking at the Rambam Mechot Avodat Yom Kippurim, like in Perek Aleph, it just says, "Matkinim lo kohen acher." It doesn't say. Your question is in the first few days of Masechet Yoma. But anyway, but today, every time a Jewish kid who is sincere wants to marry out of the regular people that you have to. Well, I'll give you an interesting example. I personally happen to know because I was a little bit involved. There was a girl who was graduated Flatbush, went to medical school. To my astonishment, she gets engaged. She calls me up, come to the engagement. Remember, in my mind, as I'm coming to the engagement, I figured the mother and kid, regular college, good Jewish kid, the boys wearing the hats.
Wearing a what? Sorry?
A hat. He was like so to say, very religious kid. Somehow, someone put them together, they liked each other. This is the engagement. At the wedding, I was at the wedding also. And the rabbi from Montreal who officiated the wedding says to me afterwards, because I was a witness or whatever, whispered to me, I hope that this marriage is lasting because he's not a good kid. He's not a young kid, good kid. Huh? Anyway, they had a child. Since then, they had a fight every day. He went out to defame her any way he can. He spread rumors why her father left the house 10 years before. Anyway, it came to a point that she was married Minat Torah. She's a married woman. She got married to a goy without receiving a get. At the Mevin, I know that if 15, 20 years from now, someone would date, I don't know if she had a boy or a girl, I have to come and say, this kid is a mamzer. Because his mother was not divorced, and she got married to a non-Jew. Of course, it's
hold on. I understand. The first husband was a goy, or he's religious?
First, I put tefillin and went to the mikveh of Yom Kippur and Erev Rosh Hashanah.
Okay.
Shabbat.
The second husband, you're saying, if it was a goy,
he separated and he refused to give her a get, just to cause her problems.
Right.
She didn't have patience, and to begin with, she was not as religious. Anyway, she needed a husband. She couldn't stay with her mom. She got married to a goy, to a doctor goy. She's married. She has a child with the doctor goy. So the kid is a mamzer in Jewish law. She's a married woman having a child.
Is it considered mamzer if it's a goy?
Yeah, yes, she's a married woman. But anyway, in regular communities, Rabbi Chacham Baruch used to have a secret list of questionable type of kids. Yeah, it's not recorded by anyone because it's not in our communities. This is why every time rabbis have people coming from Costa Rica, from Argentina, have to make very serious investigations to find where and what. So this is why Kiddushin and divorce. I was a witness, and Larry knows the second witness was Steve. In a wedding, the girl, the religious boys, she insisted her conservative rabbi should officiate the wedding. Okay. Anyway, Behemet, he didn't know what he was doing. But the father of the boy, which Stephen Minu, says, do me a favor, you be the witnesses. At least I know that the ring He gave her, you are the witnesses, fine. I mean, the guy was, to give him a title Amaharet is a compliment. I mean, he was a very cute guy and he spoke beautifully. He raised his hands hundreds of times and lovely stuff. Shtuyot. The minute I came with, because I wrote the Orthodox Ketubah, and I told the boy, remember, you sign on his Ketubah, but your Kavanah is nothing. His Ketubah is for you, a piece of paper. Anyway, this rabbi saw my Ketubah, which was an Orthodox Ketubah, he says, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
What for?
Oh, so I came to him quietly. What is that? שהחיינו. First time in my life I saw an Orthodox Ketubah. I mean, he remembers that שהחיינו is, you see something new. So
The first time, oh my God.
He was, I mean, הוא היה באמת עם הארץ, because he knew certain things. You can't, well, I'm giving you an example, yes? And I kept for a long time the Ketubah in my house. Baruch Hashem, they are married. Baruch Hashem, they have a child too. But I'm just telling you, out there, it's a problem. Out there is a problem. This is why in the older times, certain older rabbis with more experience used to officiate the wedding. The divorces only special rabbis always. Even marriages. I have a fellow that told me that he was at a wedding and one of the young rabbis, I mean, this is real, the rabbi was a real rabbi, yeah, I mean, a rabbi officiated the wedding because he was the mentor of the boy, everything is fine, everything was kosher, perfect. However, since he didn't have too much experience in officiating the wedding, in the Ketubah, if you look at the Ketubah, there is, especially by Ashkenazim, you leave empty one line after the two witnesses, and the groom, obligates himself a Ketubah. The rabbi's job is to add to the Ketubah the word Vekanina. Vekanina, we accepted Kinyan. Okay? In the case that I tell you now, the rabbi forgot to write. Now the rabbi that was called to read the Ketubah realized right away. He stopped like for 10 seconds, then he continued, because if he stopped, he would humiliate the rabbi publicly. But afterwards, he showed it to him, and okay. Now, what will happen if the rabbi would not catch it? The couple would be married, yes. But it's not good to be without the ketubah. I'm just saying you. But if the rabbi who meant the best and he knows, would show the ketubah report to an older rabbi, can you please read it for me? The rabbi would catch it in a second, but he was confident, which is, believe me, he will know this would never happen again, because it's such an embarrassing situation. Okay. לכן אני אומר that when it comes to marriage and divorce, you might want your mentor to officiate your wedding, very nice, but make sure, yes, that someone with an experience is supervising it a day before or something like that, yeah? Mel Cohen had a sister that got divorced and remarried. She remarried in Baltimore in a non-kosher wedding. But the wedding was, told me they couldn't find two kosher witnesses in the crowd. They had to bring the caterer, which was a caterer from Baltimore, religious man, and one of his workers that he knew is religious. Okay. And let's go a minute. So, yeah, go to the Rambam Sefer Nashim Hilchot Gerushin. See, this is why, unfortunately, today so many husbands know the secret. So they say, you want to get, give us money. I cannot force you to get the get. You want to get money. Of course, she can do it also, but normally it's always a woman who would like to. There was a rabbi here on 55th Street between 16 and 17, of Moshe Bik, alav shalom. He had a tremendous experience in divorces. And, difficult cases came to him. When one of these difficult cases came to him, and finally, the husband was convinced and he's ready, ready, and he's finished. He gives her the get, and she says to the Rabbi B, am I legally divorced? Yes. Is there anything more that he has to do to me? No. So, she picked up a fist and she punched the ex-husband, and everyone in the room was clapping for her. Me, if she would have done it 5 minutes before, she would remain aguna till today.
Unbelievable. Oh, so really.
This is some women, some husbands are really chazirim gdolim, לא קטנים. But this is like, obviously some women also, but unfortunately.
But a woman could then really get stuck. I mean, ultimately, a woman could really be stuck.
In the olden times, she never got stuck. Because if a woman can prove that the claim of abuse and this, the court, the rabbinic court, gives the husband an ultimatum. If you don't divorce her, we would force you. How? Bring 2 thugs, they'll break your bones.
Right.
Hook or crook.
Because of Cherem the Rabbeinu Gershon, there's nothing you can do.
They do. They try. There are things they can do. You just have, unfortunately.
Okay. So today, what you do is what you put there. See, in the olden times, if you
have to be very careful and clean and how you hire the person, and
you excommunicate the husband, he's stuck. Today, you just relocate to another state and finish.
Well, with the Syrian community, we don't relocate for the most part. They just stay here and they just go to different shul. There was a case, I think, a couple of years ago. It was a very big deal where the husband didn't want to give the wife, and became
Look a second in the Rambam Hilchot Gerushin, Salim. There are plenty of problems in the Syrian community. So this is not the problem, the other problems. So it's
he actually sued the rabbis.
Yeah.
That guy sued the rabbis?
Yeah, so it's a long story.
I don't remember his name, but I remember the story. It was a big story.
We actually handled the appeal for free for the rabbis, and we won on the appeal.
What did he sue them for? Libel?
He sued them for defamation, libel. Yeah, it's all these nonsense things that, whatever. The guy, but
he won
worse.
Is that why he appealed?
No, he lost, but he appealed, and somebody law firm charged him a lot of money. They weren't supposed to, so they came to ask me if we would do it pro bono. I told them, yeah, so we did it. But the worst thing about this guy is, it's not that he himself only does it. He trains other people, other men, how to do it, like how to, abuse the system with respect to their wives. That's really the bad thing.
How does this guy come to shul? I suppose he still comes to shul.
So yeah, sometimes because sometimes they don't realize it, and and he comes, and other times they don't want to make a ruckus in the middle of the shul. That's the problem.
Right.
How does this guy come to shul? Forget allowing him in shul. What does he think he's going to gain by coming to shul?
Why? Yeah. Why would he want to come to a place that needs to?
What does he gain?
Right.
Because all the rabbis spoke up against him. So now it's like, snubbing in your face. Yeah, you talk about, I'm still coming to your shul. Throw me out.
I know, but what are you coming to pray for? Like, you're not even fun.
You don't be afraid. He's not praying. Don't worry about it.
I don't know what he's doing. Think something's going to get accepted, or is he coming to socialize? I guess socialize is the answer.
No, are you kidding? When unfortunately this guy Hirsch, when the rabbis finally got him to give the get, he sued everybody after that. Yeah, they've conned me, they're this, they're that. He sued people, a lot of women protested because of the men, what they were doing. And the lady who formed the protest, he even sued her. Like that was a time when the ladies in the community were, protesting because it was becoming rampant because this guy was teaching other guys to do it. It's a shame, but that's what was happening.
Many, many years ago, אני חושב, אולי in the 80s, there was a couple, but two powerful means both of them came from very wealthy families. They got divorced, and they had one daughter, and the mother had custody, but she just took off. She went either to Switzerland, they forgot to read or whatever. And whatever the husband was trying to say, just he wants to see his daughter. Unfortunately, because they both came from very important families, the husband, the Gemara says in Kiddushin, listen how sneaky or terrible you can be. Abba she'amar kiddashti et biti ne'eman. It is. Even today, in the Torah, the father can marry off his daughter at the age of 9, 10, 11. Yes? Says the husband to the wife like this, look, obviously he hired many detectives here. The girl is not really found. Says, if I don't get my rights to see my daughter, I'm going to marry her off and you'll never know to whom. So she'll never be married. You hear?
Oh my God.
He's willing to sacrifice his daughter. You hear? Sacrifice his daughter. The same
He used her as leverage.
Same as Yiftach. No,
But he could be bluffing. There's a chance he's bluffing.
No, but of course, I assume he never did, but he told her, this is my last warning. I'll let you know that she's married, say it in front of 2 witnesses, and she'll never get married because you'll never know who she's married. I
get the threat, but I'm saying there's a possibility he's bluffing too.
Yeah.
He's doing it just to get the leverage.
I have a very good, in Israel, I have a very good friend. He's a very good rabbinic lawyer. He says, he tells couples always, if you have hundreds of thousands of shekels to waste, take me. If you don't have, don't do it. Because basically, if you don't come to terms in the beginning, everyone has to prove he's right. And it becomes a question of ego. So, look a second in the Rambam, פרק ב' מהלכות גירושים. רמב"ם ספר נשים הלכות גירושים, פרק ב'. Listen carefully to the Rambam. זה שנאמר בתורה, וכתב לה ספר כריתות, this is last week's parasha, ונתן בידה, וכתב לה, ונתן בידה. אחד הכותב בידו, או שאמר לאחר לכתוב לו. גמרא in the beginning of פרק שני, קידושין, learns from the pasuk, שלוחו של אדם כמותו ויגט. ואחד הנותן בידו, או שאמר לאחר ייתן לו. Either the husband gives it over, or he makes a שליח. לא נאמר וכתב, you hear? אלא להודיע שאין מתגרשת אלא מכתב. Listen good. ונתן שלא תיקח מעצמה. So says the Rambam, even though the katav means the husband, it's only to teach us that she can be divorced only by a written document, because otherwise you would say kal v'chomer. If a husband can marry a wife, that's a bekesef or whatever, why can't you divorce her the same? No, bekatav. Benatan, he doesn't have to give it. But if she takes it on her own, she's not the boss. Now the Rambam goes to many details. You realize that the rabbis had to make many restrictions to avoid a lot of fraud. Or look at Gimel, כותבים גט לאיש, אף על פי שאין אשתו עמו, והוא שיהיו העדים, listen carefully, והסופר שכתבו וחתמו בו, מכירים ויודעים. So a man walks into Beit Din, yes? I want to divorce my wife. Where's your wife? She doesn't want to come. They might write everything he says. He just made up something. Says the Rambam, והוא שיהיו העדים יודעים, מכירים ויודעים שזהו פלוני, the man who claims he is the one, he is married to this woman that he claimed, ואשתו היא פלונית. ואם היו, listen to this, ואם היו באותו מקום שניים ששמותיהם שווים, ראובן בן יעקב, שני ראובן בן יעקב, שני יוסף בן שמעון, ושמות נשותיהם שווים, אין מגרש אחד, אלא במעמד חברו. Originally, one cannot divorce unless the other couple is here to make sure that you are not writing a get, you're not telling us to write a get on behalf of your friend. He wants to divorce his wife, yes? But today it's a very big problem. Why? Because in the older times, you're in a village or a small community, 500 families, 700 families, more or less, people know each other. But today, you have many people, they have the same names, and the parents have the same names. This is why Rabbi Feinstein strongly is suggesting, and the RCA adopted it, that by every time, if I have a wedding, if I am a witness in a wedding, I'm turning to the rabbi who officiates. Remember, I have to sign on the ketubah, Pinchas Zeli, Ben Avraham, Aaron HaLevi. I'm asking the rabbi, should I write Ben Avraham, Aaron HaLevi, Prague or not? I know in advance that if it's a young Israel rabbi, which he's right to do it, is yes, of course right to. If the rabbi is a Hungarian rabbi, no, just write Pinchas. Because in the previous generations, no one did it. But Rabbi Feinstein, simply for practical reasons, says, how can you sign your name? But 10 other people might be like you. I'll give you this, some interesting. I'm an Israeli. For some reason, I grew up that my name Pinchas is written Pei, Nun, Chet, Samach. Every book that I had, there, Pinchas, Zelig, I write Zayin, Lamed, Yud, Gimel. If you look at Parshat Pinchas, Pinchas is written with a Yud.
Good.
Also, most European write the word Zelig, Zayin, Ayin.
Right.
So once I signed, Rabbi Beek was really, knew what he was doing, looks at me and he says, he's not from Eretz Yisrael, huh? You're from Israel. I told him, how do you know? I told him, no one here writes Zelig without an Ayin. Both, obviously. No, but this is Tviyut Ayin. Tviyut Ayin. The Maharil Diskin was officiating the divorce. A couple came to him while he was in Paris. He was running from Paris to Israel. And, men and women came on. So he says to them, I want you to come tomorrow again. 3 times. By the 3rd time, he said to them, but you are not the husband and the wife. He forced them to admit. How did people ask him, what made you suspect? He said, look, says they came with a dog. Every time they came, the dog was with a woman. The dog never went to the man. Yes, the man never held the dog. The dog never showed any. You hear the sharpness of a love. But it's a very big chokhmah, and in many difficult situations, the real rabbis have to look now at the 7 halachot the Rambam says are me'akev b'yaget. The 7 halachot are but if you learn Masechet Gittin, Salim, you probably learned it 2 or 3 times. But
I did it twice, but unfortunately,
normally you run through it, but if you have to
that's
put
the problem.
look in Perek Aleph Halacha Aleph, look a second. look in Aleph. אין האישה מתגרשת אלא בכתב, שיגיע לה. בכתב זה הוא הנקרא גט. ו10 דברים הם עיקר הגירושים מן התורה. יותר, שלא יגרש האיש אלא ברצונו. The man has to agree. How can you beat him up? This is the Gemara's question. שיגרש בכתב. The document has to be written. שיהיה עניין הכתב. What is the get about? שגירשה, I'm divorcing my wife, the names, והסירה מקניינו, she's not under him. שיהיה עניינו דבר הכורת. This is ספר כריתות. The Gemara says if he gives her the get is attached to a rope. She's not מגורשת. שיהיה נכתב לשמה, זה ממש לשמה, כמו ספר תורה, שלא יהיה מחוסר מעשה אחר כתיבתו, which means, what happened?
Moving men.
If he writes the get on a branch of a tree, and after the כתיבה, you have to chop it off. This is מחוסר, the get is מחוסר, מעשה, וכתב ונתן, שלא יהיה הפסק ביניהם. שיתננו לה בתורת גירושים, cannot give it to her as a deposit. This is your divorce. ושיהיה הבעל או שלוחו, הוא שנתנו לה, הוא spoke before, ושאר הדברים שבגט, כגון זמן, חתימת העדים, הכל מדברי סופרים. When I went to Russia with Steve in 88, he asked me to officiate divorce. I told him in my life I never did it. So they said, did you learn Gittin? I told them more than once. They gave me Yiddish. They gave me 2 huge papers with 88 rules. I went over it. They said the couple waits there, the sofer is there. You just have to make sure that we follow whatever is written. Fine. I came, I apologized, I said, I'm sorry to do something. They said, don't worry, thank you for coming. We have to get divorced. Fine. My head was the names are extremely important. Her name in Russia was Lila. Is Lila like Laila, Lamed Yud, Lamed Aleph, Lamed Yud, Lamed Hey, or Lamed Yud? We had to make a decision. So I asked the Russians, you are here, I'm not from here. So they said what they think it means. We recorded what they said. We recorded, then we wrote it. And I told them I'll show it to rabbis in America if they agree this is the way the name should be. This was but you see, this is because I was prepared in advance and they are ready. Sometimes it's a very, very big problem. In a Ashkenazim, in a marriage document, ketubah, you write only the name. Let's say Yaakov ben Yitzchak. The Sfaradim would write Yaakov המכונה Jack, ben Yitzchak המכונה Isaac. By Ashkenazim, you don't write המכונה, a nickname. By the divorce paper, you write all the nicknames of the husband and the wife. So this is why it's important for the rabbis to be very experienced, because there are many situations that Rab Mordechai Eliyahu, Alav Shalom, who was the chief rabbi, came once to the wedding of Riki. I guess I sat next to him, so I told him something about how the father of Reb Zalman Auerbach once. So he says to me, a story like this happened to me. Listen good. He was an Av Beit Din in Be'er Sheva. A Russian woman comes. She says that she was Russian. She was converted. She was to marry an Israeli. How do I know that you are converted? A very good friend of hers, who Rabbi Eliyahu knew well, says, אני מכיר אותה, זה אמת, or whatever. Mordechai Eliyahu says to me, but I have to make my own investigation. So he says to her, look, he says there are two customs when you convert. Either you dip in a real mikveh, whatever it is, or remember, if she is not really converted, she knows the Christian customs. Or they sprinkle you with water from a pool. They take special cups. So how was your conversion? He says they took the water and says definitely not. She's a Goya. You understand? She wanted to marry an Israeli to have an apartment. This is why rabbis you have to be very polite, but you have to be very suspicious. What are the motivations of those who? The father of Reb Zalman Auerbach in Yerushalayim, the rule is if a woman comes from Paris or Panama and she says, I was married and divorced, you have to believe her. Lama, she didn't have to tell us that she was married. Aper she'asar salim hu aper she'itir, yes? Aper she'asar, she said, I'm married. But the rabbis have to ask zillion questions. A woman came and she says, I was married and divorced in Europe. And the rabbis were asking many questions. They couldn't disprove her, but it didn't smell good. There's nothing you can do if it doesn't smell good. The halacha is he has to be trusted. But they called the father from Zalman Auerbach, told him, please, you talk to her. Try to listen to wisdom of a rabbi. This is an Ashkenazi rabbi, Ashkenazi lady. None of you are Ashkenazi except the Elari. By ladies, the ceremony when the bride goes around the groom 7 times is like holy, you know. It's like people take it very seriously. You realize halachically it's nonsense, chas v'shalom nonsense. It's a minhag yafeh that only the Sfaradim have. Ashkenaz German Jews don't do it either. Anyway, he says to the lady like this, look, when you got married, right, you went around your husband 7 times. He made something, he says, this is a sign that your connection to your husband is very strong. 7, number 7, whatever. Now, he says to her, in a divorce, there are 2 customs. Either one custom is that the husband now, since he's releasing the woman, is going around the woman 7 times before he gives her the paper. And the other custom is to go around 3 times. How many times did your husband go around you when you received the get? He says, Rabbi, it was perfect 7 times. Told her, you are definitely not divorced. But you see, this is wisdom. He knew to come from a left field that she would never ever coach her, would never ever coach something like that. Have a wonderful night. Tomorrow night we'll learn New York and Bezat Hashem.
Okay, have a good night. Yeshikach, Rabbi Prague. Good
night,
Salim. Good night.
I missed you all this morning, but thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Only good things.
Thank you. Amen. No more.
to close it here.